All right, so sorry, I apologize ahead of time. I got a little bit of a cold, so my voice might be fucked up. But I want to talk about hypergamy and PUA. I think these things kind of go hand in hand. Now, I've studied PUA since about 2012. It's worked for me, but the relationships that I've gotten from PUA have been really bad relationships. I did meet girls before I had studied anything from PUA. I just had a lot more problem meeting girls back then. And I'm not saying my PUA became amazing. My PUA game became amazing, but I learned a lot from PUA. I agree with some of its tenets in the fact that men would benefit from improving themselves. Men would benefit from understanding women more. Men would benefit from learning how to talk to women more and being more social. That's all very true. However, ultimately, what I realize about PUA is that it doesn't help men find quality women. Okay? It helps men get laid and it helps play into hypergamy. Hypergamy is essentially a woman just choosing a man who is better than other men, right? He's got better game, he's more confident, he's got more social status, he's got more resources, etc., right? So PUA teaches men to improve themselves in this way in order to get pussy, right? So if you take that away, if you take that concept away, PUA really has no foundation, right? There's no foundation if you remove that improving factor, right? If you say just be yourself, right? Then you don't need PUA, because if you're just being yourself, then you can just be whatever you are. Now, here's where a problem comes into play, because you have to ask the question, well, shouldn't we all improve and shouldn't we all get better? And many PUA men would argue this. Well, we should all improve. And I would agree. Yeah, we should improve. I think that as human beings, we want to improve, right? But the difference is that if you improve in such a way where all you're looking for is hookups, right? All you're looking for is to impress some woman with, oh, cool, look how confident I am, and look how cool I can talk, and look at my cool clothes, and look at my, my social status and my resources, right? Then you're showing her aspects of you that can change. You're showing her aspects of you that are transitory, right? They could come and go. You could lose your looks. You could get sick and you won't be able to work out anymore. You get overweight. You lose your your house has a fire. You lose all your clothes, right? And you could say those are excuses, but the point being is that if you find a woman who loves you for you, then you found a good woman and you found a good relationship. If you find a woman who loves you for the improved version of you, the version that has really nice clothes, the version that's cooler than other guys, then you haven't really found a good woman. You found a woman who just chose you over other guys because you had some aspects of advantages over those other guys, right? So PUA teaches guys to not be a loser, not be, a chump who doesn't know how to talk to girls, not be like, unconfident, right? And it's like, okay, that's a fair thing to do sometimes. If a guy is like, all he does is stay at home and he doesn't have any friends and he doesn't go out ever and talk to girls ever, it's like, yeah, how's he going to meet somebody to love? How's he going to meet a girlfriend? Like, online dating sucks. Online dating is like really, it's hard to meet somebody, although it's not impossible. People do it all the time. But it's harder to meet somebody that way. It's better if you go out and you talk to girls and things like that. Well, that's cool insofar as getting somebody out of the house, getting somebody to be more social. Okay, like that's a pretty good accomplishment. But to say like, oh, in order to get a girl, you need to do these phony things that come and go, like improve yourself. Well, even if you do improve yourself, and even if that does help you, you're missing the point of what a real relationship is. A real relationship should be founded upon love. A real relationship should be founded upon, building a bond and building something that is based on genuine affection, not just based on, transitory things such as money and social status and things like that. And the question is, would you really want a girl who's hypergamous? Would you really want a girl who's monkey branching and who's using you until she can find the better guy, and then using that guy until she can find a better guy than him, and so on and so forth? It's those type of girls they don't have any value. They don't have any intrinsic value. They're just homie hoppers. They're just gold diggers. They're just girls who are like looking for, hookups and things like that. And it's like, not all girls are like that. And I don't care what MGTOW guys say. There is narwhals. There is women out there who get married, who fall in love with one guy, and they're not hypergamous in the sense that they're not constantly looking for, a better guy, and guys do that too. Guys look for better looking women, and those guys that's not cool either, right? And women to some extent do want a man to have resources, and they do want a man to, a lot of women want a man who's not a bum and has his stuff together and things like that. And that's part of that male, those male, what's the word? Stigmas, or those male kind of, social norms that we expect men to be, which is like, oh, if you're not a real man if you can't provide for your own, and that kind of stuff. Well, we live in the 21st century now. Women can go out and work. Women don't have to be at home. Women don't have to be taken care of. So there's exceptions to that rule. But women do, want a man who's not a bum and things like that. But I've seen it happen. I've seen women date men who didn't have jobs. I've seen girls fall in love with gamers, and all they do is just play video games and things like that. So love transcends. It's not the norm. I think it's the exception. I think that most girls do want a guy who's got a good job and things like that. And that is, to some extent, biology. I think women are attracted to that kind of thing. So you can improve those things to have women more attracted to you, but don't say that that's love, and don't say that that's what, having a real relationship is all about. You're just playing the system to get better type of girls. And usually most PUA is really just about, having sex. That's it. It's just about being able to hook up. And so you'll hear PUA guys talk about hypergamy and mention Rollo Tomasi, the rational male, and mention how you need to have your stuff together and things like that. And that there's some merit to there, because like I said, I would want guys to have their stuff together, and I would want guys to improve and things like that. But to say that's the only aspect that will get you a female is wrong, and it's incorrect, and also it's encouraging the wrong type of thing. It's animalistic. You're just acting like, oh, all women are is like this. Like women are a job or something where, you got to come in with a resume. And what's my resume? My resume is I got this career, and I got these clothes, and I got this car, and I got these resources. And it's like, that's funky, man. Like, I don't, that's not love. Like, I don't want a girl like that. Like, hey, yeah, I've had girls ask me, like, on the first date or the first time I ever met them, like, well, what do you do for work? And how much money do you make? And it's just like, whoa. Date's over. Like, that's all you care about? You're just a gold digger. You're a social climber. Like, you didn't ask me anything about me. You didn't ask me, like, what are my hobbies? What are my interests? What do I like doing? Like, you didn't ask me, like, any personal questions, like, what was your family like? What was your childhood like? What are some of the favorite things you like to do? There's none of that, like, getting to know me personally. It's just all about right to the finances, right to the resources. Like, I need to have a baby, and I need to have the best man to have a baby. And it's just like, gross. Like, get away from me. Like, that's not a relationship. You're looking for a surrogate. You're looking for a daddy. You're looking for you're looking for a sugar daddy. So anyway, that's kind of what I think about PUA and hypergamy, is that it plays into hypergamy, and it plays into women's desires, and it's pussy pandering. Ultimately, you're changing yourself in order to impress women so that you can get pussy, and that's ultimately pussy pandering. That's not alpha. That's not really helping men in the long run. Now, like I said, if it helps you get out of the house, if it helps you improve, you're in depression and you learn some social skills through watching PUA, and you learn how to talk to girls, you learn how to get out of that funk, get out of that depression, then hey, that's wonderful. And I think it's changed a lot of young guys' lives. And I applaud the PUA teachers and instructors who teach that kind of PUA, where they really teach you social skills, and they really, because there's some real help there you can find. But ultimately, they don't teach you how to have a relationship. They don't teach you what real love is. They don't teach you how to maintain real love over a long period of time. Okay, they really don't say anything about real love. I can't find any material. I've studied since 2012. I mean, maybe not in depth. Maybe there's some stuff that I looked over, but I'm sure there's some cool stuff that talks about having a girlfriend and maintaining relationships and things like that. But none of it talks about love, as far as I know. None of it says, here's how you find love. Here's how you just find somebody who loves you for you, and things like that. Like that's an old saying for a reason. Like, you want to find somebody who loves you for you, who's going to stick around through thick and thin, and that's it. And a lot of times we get mad, and I think, MGTOW and Red Pill might be somewhat of a reaction to what PUA has done to the dating pool, to the dating game. PUA probably has sort of, I think they've unlocked a key somewhat to play into female biology and sort of trick women in order to get women to sleep with them and get women to chase after them and be attracted to them. And they've done a great job of that. However, I think those women were already going to do that. I think those women wanted that anyways. Those women wanted to go out and slut around. They wanted to be hypergamous. They chose to chase the guy with the best resources, etc. And because of that, PUA became a very marketable and very popular thing in society. But again, like, those women were already doing that. Those women are not necessarily quality women, even if they're hot and they're beautiful. Like that's what you're gonna base your entire attraction to them on. Well, guys need to improve then too. If that's all you base your love on, is if she's attractive and if she's good at sex, or if she's sexy. Well, you're playing into something there. You're playing into hypergamy. You're playing into exchange of sex for resources in that case. Because if all you think is her only worth is that she's sexy, then what's she going to do? She's going to want to commoditize that, and she's going to want to sell that sexiness to whatever benefits she can get from it. And that whole scenario is messed up. That whole scenario is not love. That whole scenario is not a real relationship. And I would argue that it's damaging to society. But the real truth of the matter is that a woman should look for love too. And I've seen women look for hypergamous relationships and get into long-term relationships based on hypergamy, and then they call that love. I think that is a type of love, and you can get love that way, and you can love somebody that way. But I don't think it's the best scenario of love. I don't think it's the best case of love. I don't think it's a good example of love. I think that it's a more base type of love. It's an animalistic type of love. Love is, I love you because I just love you. Love is, I love you whether you're rich or you're poor, or you're fat or you're or you're skinny. And as messed up as that sounds, like, oh, we don't want no fat chicks. Well, you might love a fat chick. I fell in love with a girl who was overweight, once, and she wasn't as hot as I wanted her to be, and I loved her, and it didn't work out. But the point is that you never know. Love is love. Love is blind. They say love is blind for a reason, because love is blind, man. You go into a relationship, you should look at all that person's faults, and you should say, okay, I see all this person's faults. Am I okay with all this stuff? If I'm okay with it and I love this person and I want to continue on, then you got to close your eyes. Someone wise once said, when you go into a relationship, you have your eyes wide open. And once you're in the relationship, you have your eyes closed. Because once you're in that relationship, if while you're looking at, oh, she's overweight, she's fat, or she's not as hot as I want her to be, then it's not going to work out, because you're nitpicking. It's like, you got to love her for who she is. This is who this person is. This is who she is. And this is who he is. He's poor, he's this or he's that, right? You can't be like, oh man, I married this guy, now he's not what I wanted him to be. He didn't, I married the frog and he didn't turn into a prince. Well, you have a whacked out basis of what love is. And a lot of these girls, that's what they're out there doing. They're out there looking for their Prince Charming, and it's like, that's not love either. A lot of these girls would be like, oh, I don't want no frog and turn to a prince. I want him to already be a prince. Well, that's not love either. Even if you find the best dude with the best money and and you can say, I got the best one, and divorce 60+%. Why? Because that's not love, man. And even if you stay together and even if you fall in love, it's like, I don't know, man. Like eventually it's gonna sour. Eventually that person is gonna lose partially some of the stuff you were attracted to them for. Say you marry a girl because she's got great tits and she fucked you crazy and the sex was amazing. Well, eventually her tits are going to sag, and eventually that sex is not going to be as good. Then what do you have? Do you have a bond? Do you have love after that point? You know what I mean? So this is my issue with PUA. Is that from what I've studied and from what I went through, it got me into relationships. It helped me get out of the house. It helped me get girls. It helped me get sex. But none of it worked out. None of it worked out long term. None of it worked out for love. You know what I mean? Because it was helping me to improve outward aspects and to improve the way I socialized, to improve the way that I approached girls, to improve the way that I thought about girls, etc. And that helped me to become more attractive to girls, but it didn't help me to have a long-term relationship. It didn't help me at all for that. In fact, it probably hurt me for that, because it got me into some relationships with girls that I probably shouldn't have been in a relationship with in the first place. And they wouldn't have been attracted to me if I wasn't putting on some bad boy front, or I wasn't putting on, some game techniques or push and pull, or I didn't learn how to be funny and all these things that I learned through PUA. Those girls wouldn't even have been attracted to me if I was just being myself, if I was just acting like who I really am in real life. And that's what you want. You want a girl who's going to love you for who you really are. If you're boring, she still loves you. If you're funny or not, she still loves you. If you're depressed, she still loves you. Things like that, right? And it's a real slippery slope. It's real easy to be like, oh, well, you need to improve yourself and not be boring. And you need to improve yourself and not be depressed. And And it's like, to a certain extent, I think, yes, that's true. You should be more entertaining and things like that. And you should be less depressed and things like that. But if you constantly have to keep up a front, if you can never relax and just be who you really are, then bro, you haven't found love. You are performing to keep somebody around. You are acting like something you're not in order to impress somebody who won't love you for who you really are. And that's a sad situation, because are you going to keep that up for 50 years? Are you going to keep up that facade for the next 20, 30 years of your life? You know what I mean? It's or until you die. I don't know how old y'all are, but until you're 70, like however many years that is, you got to keep up that front. Like this is what Rollo Tomasi teaches in The Rational Male. Like that's weird, man. Like I don't like that. And a lot of these guys who are teaching this stuff, they don't have good relationships, man. They're single dudes. They're dudes who are teaching you stuff. They're giving you advice that might help you get laid, it might help you meet girls, but it's not going to help you find love for the long term. And eventually, like that, you can't do that for the rest of your life. It takes a lot of energy. You don't have a lot of time. You know what I mean? You want somebody who's going to love you when you come home from work and you're tired, and you don't have to perform. Oh shit! I went and worked for 8 hours today, and I came home, and now I have to impress my wife or impress my girlfriend and play this game. It's like, how exhausting is that? You can't do that. And this is why relationships end. This is why marriages end, because they're founded and based on things that aren't genuine. They're founded and based on things that aren't really love. You know what I mean? So that's all I got to say about that. That's my ultimate take on PUA and hypergamy. But like I said, it does work. It does help you to get out of ruts. It can be very beneficial. It can help you get laid and things like that. But ultimately, that can bring in a lot of pain too. That can bring in a lot of pain from bad relationships, getting your heart broke, etc. And I've experienced that kind of stuff. All right. So that's all I got to say. Appreciate you listening to Jay Lee Northwest Podcast. Peace.